was Friday last summer. It's been a busy day. I was running a little behind. Headed out to make my last tour of our campus before the weekend hit. As I came around the north side of the pavilion, I noticed a flower bed that was flooded. Stopped to assess the problem. Searching through the water, I found an irrigation line that had come apart. Quickly effected repair, and as I was finishing, I suddenly heard this scream of a child coming from the parking lot. I turned to see a couple leading a young girl, about 8 years old, possibly, toward the pavilion, north entrance. I could see that she was panicked and frightened, struggling to break free, which she finally did, fell to the asphalt, got up, ran back to the car, parents following, wrapped her hands around the door handle. She kept screaming, don't take me, I don't want to go, don't hurt me, don't let them hurt me. Parents had freed her hands from the door handle now and were headed back to the pavilion while the child's pleads went on. Don't take me, don't hurt me, please take me home. Thought something must be terribly wrong here. And then a little voice came into my head that said, help them. You need to help them. No, I thought, this is a family matter, and we were so often told not to interfere in such things, but the voice kept telling me, you need to help them. And I knew I had to intercede. The child now had broken away again. The mother had followed her toward the car. The father was standing by the north end of the pavilion, calling the child to him. I walked up to him and introduced myself. My name's Ed, I said, and I work here at the hospital. This is a very busy parking lot, you know, a lot of traffic and people sometimes somewhat distracted. Is there anything I can do to help? No, he said, there's nothing you can do. And I asked, well, why? Why is this child so scared? He said, well, you see, she's a special needs child. She doesn't understand what needs to be done this day. She doesn't comprehend like other children. You see, we had to take her to a university hospital to have a procedure done. They weren't able to sedate her because she had to stay awake for this procedure. She was struggling, didn't understand. They had to strap her down so that she wouldn't move. And ever since then, this is what happens when we try to get into a medical building. You see, he said, she has a medicine that she's taking that is making her very sick. It's causing her to vomit. She can't keep anything down. They can't change the medicine, though, until this blood work is done. Please, I said, would you let me talk to her? Well, I guess, he said, but it won't help. I walked over to the mother, child now on the ground. Said, if you don't mind, I'd like to talk to your daughter. She looked at me as if I was crazy, out of my mind, and gave me an okay. And I asked her the child's name. And for now, I'll just call her Dee. I turned to Dee, got down on my knees so that I would be at her level. Clothes were now dirtied, her hair messed from her struggles, tears staining her face. I looked into her eyes, said, Dee, I can tell that you're a very smart, very beautiful, very brave young little girl. And no one here will hurt you, I promise. We're only here to help you. I looked into those big dark eyes filled with tears, and I could feel them searching me, looking into me. I reached out my hands and put them on her shoulders. I said, Dee, do you know that God loves you? That I love you? The people here love you, and I promise no one will hurt you. Sobbing tears seemed to abate. I put my hand on her and stood, and she stood with me, the mother holding her other hand. Said, let's see if we can't get inside this building. As we headed toward the pavilion, I was telling Dee how wonderful she was, not to be afraid, what a beautiful young lady she was. You see, there was no reason for that line to come apart, really. I was behind, which I shouldn't have been. And if they had parked where they needed to park, at the west entrance instead of the north, we would have never met. But see, God put us where he needed us to be that day, that he could share his love with us, and so that we could share it with each other. For that, I will always be grateful, and that little girl will always be in my heart.